motorcycle racing. It's Supercross from Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Against all odds, a foreign rider is on top of the point standings in the chase for one of motorcycling's most coveted awards, the championship of the Camel Supercross Series. Will the American stars turn back the challenge? Or will Jean-Michel Bayle return to France with the title and #1 plate? Stay tuned and find out. Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge, is next. Supertrax presents Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. The Coors Light Challenge, round 12 of the Camel Supercross Series, will be contested at Memorial Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. And that is Damon Bradshaw country. 1 year ago, as a Team Yamaha rookie, Bradshaw drove his hometown fans into a frenzy with a race-long battle for the lead. The crowning touch, the checkered flag, and victory. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers. Welcome to Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. With me is Dan Bentley, the man that normally turns the wrenches for our defending Camel Supercross champ, Jeff Stanton. The loss tonight to you, obviously, Jeff Stanton is not able to ride, is our gain, but I think you'd rather be down in the start line.
Oh, yes, I would, Larry. It's my pleasure to be here tonight, but we had a little problem up in Pontiac, and we won't be riding tonight.
The problem was more than a little problem, a shoulder separation.
Yeah, we had a second-degree separation of his left shoulder, and he's out getting therapy right now, and hopefully we'll be back for Dallas.
Well, we're hopeful, too. Now, meantime, another situation has developed here in Charlotte. Damon Bradshaw, the rider we spoke of earlier, is having his problems. Here with more on that, Wendy Walsh.
That's right, Larry. Damon Bradshaw is the story here tonight in Charlotte. Not only is he a hometown boy arriving after a stunning victory last week in Pontiac, Michigan, there is also some question as to whether he will actually race tonight. Earlier in a practice session, he jammed his thumb, and Larry, I talked to him when he was icing it, and he told me then that it wasn't going to affect his performance. But then in a second practice session, he was unable to grip the handlebars. So it's still up in the air as to whether Damon Bradshaw will race. And I will keep you more informed from the winner's circle tonight. Stay with us as more Supercross 91 continues.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, round 12 of the Camel Supercross Series, where just a few minutes ago it started to rain. The crowd, though, is prepared with everything from raincoats, ponchos to garbage bags, as we're just about set to get the first race of the night underway, the 125cc main event. Now, those riders are in the process of taking their warm-up lap, and while they're doing that, let's take a look at the track. There are, of course, double jumps, triple jumps, a lot of whoop-de-doos, straightaways, bank corners, just as there are in any other Supercross track. The unique thing here, though, is the size. It is the smallest track that the riders will be riding on in 1991. Now, what that means is they're going to be lapping riders at a quicker pace, a faster pace, and that's going to lend to more excitement. And speaking of excitement, look at the rain come down now. It's falling harder. It is really going to be miserable out there for the riders. Just about everyone in the crowd has found cover of some kind, as this 125cc main event is just about set to get underway. Now, here's a look at some of the riders that you'll see competing for the #1 spot out here tonight. Talon Boland, he comes out of Missouri, Suzuki rider. There's Jeremy Buell, rides for the Pro Circuit Honda team. Brian Swink, a teammate of Buell. They both ride the Hondas in the unfamiliar blue and white color instead of the normal red and white color we would see. Ryan Hughes, a Kawasaki rider from North Carolina. Here's the way they stand going into this Charlotte event. Brian Swink on top, followed by Buell, Talon Boland, Doug Henry, Mike Brown. A lot of fine riders in this class, any one of them, plus a whole slew of others could win. But this rain is coming down, and Dan, it's going to be miserable.
Yeah, definitely the track's going to become a lot more slippery, Larry. The track's going to have all of the play, so things could happen.
Well, we'll see. The gate is dropped, and this 125cc main event is underway. That number 42 that you saw in the center of the screen, it looked like he may have gotten a whole shot as the series points leader in that 125 class. Brian Swink, but it is not Swink. Swink is back just a ways. That's number 31, and 371 out front. 371 is kind of a shocker. One of the privateers on the circuit, Hank Marie. 31 is Doug Hand. We would expect Doug Henry So we no sooner said it, and look what happened.
Exactly, Larry. You have to be very careful. You have to be the total throttle control. Take it easy in the corner.
So it's Jeremy Buell out front. Rider number 37, Ryan Hughes, the Kawasaki youngster, in the number 2 position. Hammer and Hank Marie, the privateer, running third. That's the way it sets up for first, second, and third in this slippery track. And Buell is riding an incredible race. And I have to say, at this point, he's right on the edge, and he has to be very careful. He's taking the corners real wide and using the berms. I'd say that's experience.
Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do on a slippery track like this. Just ride the outside lines and keep your pace going.
The theory being, of course, if you've got your wheels against that outside berm, you're not going to have it slide out from underneath you, whereas if you try to cut that corner tight on the inside, give it a little too much gas, you could find yourself down on the ground awfully fast. That's what Buell has to watch out for. He's in the number 1 position, rider number 25. Right behind him, 37. That's Ryan Hughes in the number 2 position. Third is a privateer, Hammer and Hank Marie. Buell is paying absolutely no attention to this weather. He's just setting an incredible pace out front, and he's forcing, and then Buell got a little sideways. He's forcing the rest of the pack to ride his race, and I have to think maybe that's a good move. Now, Hughes, not quite as maybe familiar with water, although he comes out of this North Carolina area, but this clay base is not something he's ridden a lot on, but it certainly is having no effect, and Hughes goes into the lead.
Exactly. Hughes just pressure him a little bit, and it's extremely slippery out there, and Hughes just went into the lead. Buell's going to just ride his own race, try to stay close to him, and hopefully he'll catch him near the end.
Well, Buell, I thought, would have had the advantage of this stuff, but Ryan Hughes surprised me. He just says, hey, I'm here to race, I'm here to win. Hughes has not won one of these 125 events this year. Buell has done his share of winning, and I think maybe, I don't know if it was an overconfidence on his part or whatever. Maybe he thought he was going as fast as he could go, but Ryan Hughes just shocked Buell and the rest, I think, of the field as he just swept into that number 1 position. So the Kawasaki out front out of North Carolina is Ryan Hughes running second. Annie Marie's team Honda rider, Jeremy Buell. Here's Hammer and Hank Marie running in number 3 position, turning in an outstanding ride for the young privateer. Running 4th, number 31, that's Doug Henry. And Henry knows a little bit about mud. He comes from the east. Isn't it ironic that all of the riders we've got up front are definite East Coast mud riders? And here comes rider number 42, Brian Swink, getting into it. Swink from Michigan. He understands a little bit about slippery conditions.
Oh, exactly. He's from Michigan. He knows all about it, and he's going to be charging through the pack. This thing isn't over yet, Larry.
This is the battle for the number 3 position. Number 371, Hammer and Hank Marie comes out of Society Hill, South Carolina. There's a North Carolina rider out front, but that isn't where the action is right now. We have a great battle for this number 3 position. Here comes Swink to the inside, number 42. Swink looking for running room. He's alongside Henry. Brian Swink goes deep into the corner. Oh, I don't know. I guess you call that a skinny motion, come to a stop. Where am I? Block pass.
Exactly.
You know, Dan, throughout Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge, we focused on the factory riders, the guys that do the winning, but there's a whole nother breed out there. Earlier, Wendy took a look.
Top Gun riders are sponsored by factories, which pay salary and expenses. There's another breed of racer who competes without benefit of a full factory ride, the privateer.
We have to do good just to keep going. If we don't do good, then we're pretty much out of money for the next race. You get paid by the AMA and by your sponsors. You get contingency. If you do so well, your sponsors will pay you also, which helps out.
Privateers travel in box vans to races all over the country. They come from big cities and small country farms.
I'm from Mound City, Missouri, and yes, we live on a farm. My father's a farmer, and I have my own track and whatnot to practice on, so it makes it real convenient. Last thing he wants me to be is a farmer right now. So he's behind me 2,000%, whatever I need, so it really helps.
Besides sponsors and family, a privateer also gets support from friends.
I know he can do it, and when he gets out there, I'm not scared anymore, and I just keep telling to myself, and I'm yelling for him to go for it and go for it, because I know he can do it.
For the last 3 years, every weekend we spend time on the road, but it's a good family sport. We enjoy it. It's expensive, but, you know, what the heck. If you're doing something you enjoy, you don't really look at how much it costs you.
And so they load up and come come to another race. It's time-consuming and expensive. So what motivates these privateers?
Just to prove to myself that I gave it everything I could. Trying to be the best, I guess. Be the best you can be.
It's better than anything I've ever done.
And that, Dan Bentley, just about sums it up. Better than anything I've ever done. Here goes Brian Swink back to live action. Swink is trying to take the measure of Hank Marie. Marie, you recall earlier, was a leader in this race. Swink, starting in the back of the pack, is trying to move up. But Hammer and Hank slammed the door. Now, Marie got just a little bit sideways. He paid the price. Hank Marie come around that corner. He was sideways, but he kept the throttle on. He paid the price as he dove off the track. He's all right. He's up. Let's take another look. Now watch Marie on top of this jump. There, he got sideways for the first time. He should have shut it down. Memorial Stadium, this is the 125 main event. Our leader is Ryan Hughes. Here we go again with Hughes in the number 1 spot, number 37. As we mentioned, Hughes out of Shelby, North Carolina, not too far away from here. But he has not had that kind of experience riding this mud that he is exhibiting out here in the main event of this 125 class. He's just riding it like a past master. All over it. There now, Hughes has a problem. Here comes Buell. Has he got enough? No. Oh, Hughes had a little problem there, and Buell was not paying attention. It looked to me like he should have made that pass. Buell goes wide. Hughes to the inside. Buell stays outside, looking for running room. They're still doubling and tripling on this racetrack, and it's getting slicker and slicker as the race goes on. And there's another example as riders go down. It just takes the slightest miscalculation, and man, your history is so slippery out there. But Ryan Hughes, other than that one little bobble that we made, and look at the rain come down now, we can see us standing on the racetrack. Oh, that is going to be slippery. How much longer can they continue to do the doubles and triples, Dan?
I don't know. I think they're just going to keep continuing doing it as long as they have good drives going up to the jumps. They'll be able to keep doubling and tripling. Right?
I guess you can sense when you're on the motorcycle when you're going too far. But look, see, we're continuing to have problems, and it's being caused by this water. Too much throttle at the wrong time. Oh, and Hughes jumps on. Ryan Hughes jumped off the front of that motorcycle. He was riding an incredible race, and I'm not going to say he was over his head, but I had just asked that question. How long can you continue to do these doubles and triples? Now, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but going up the face of one of those jumps, it would be easy to lose power because you're spinning.
Oh, exactly.
And once you lose the power, what happens when you're in the air?
Over you go.
And that's just exactly what happened. Here's that crash again. Now tell me if you can see what happens with Hughes.
It looks like he just kind of came up, didn't have enough speed, Larry, and augured into the second jump.
Dan, we have it from one more angle. Maybe we'll get a closer look, but I think that's exactly what happened. He loses some traction going up the face of that jump. Yeah, and he just didn't have the speed. The nose come down on him, and when he landed, you could see how slippery it is because he didn't just crash. He actually skied down that hill.
And he did a good job, you know. He knew he was going to crash. He jumped off the front of the machine and kept from being injured.
Good job indeed. Meanwhile, it's hard for us to describe why that would be a good job, so you'll just have to take our word for it. He did a good job when he crashed. What Dan meant was he avoided further injury by exiting the machine properly, if there is a proper way to do it. Meanwhile, Jeremy Buell is doing everything properly out in front in this one, and Buell is having some problems now, and I have to wonder, he's still getting a lot of air off some of these smaller jumps. We'll watch it. Look at that. Now, Buell almost loses it. He's setting up for one of the longer jumps. Let's see if he continues to run these doubles and triples, and he continues to slam into it. I've got to say that Buell is, well, I'm not going to say he's making a mistake. He's on the motorcycle. He knows what he's doing. From where we're sitting, we know the consequences, and you have to wonder, Dan, if he's not maybe just running a little bit hot. There's Brian Swink in second. We'll see if Swink is doing the doubles and triples, and Swink is indeed. So I guess Buell is figuring, hey, I'm looking behind me, and he's still coming. But I don't think Swink is riding with the confidence and the speed right now that Buell is.
Now, what usually happens, Larry, is the track starts getting muddier and muddier. These riders, most of them probably started with some type of intermediate type of tire, or a hard track tire.
Well, we're on the last lap of this one. I think there's something else we can point out. Jeremy Buell is in second place. Buell wants as many points as he can possibly get out of this thing. Brian Swink, on the other hand, is in the number 1 position in the series. It behooves Swink at this point in time to make sure that he finishes this race. That's the most critical thing he could do. So I think if I'm Brian Swink, I think I'm going to settle for second and assure 22 points, where Buell says, I need the extra points. I'm going for it all the way.
Exactly. It's a safe bet. He's just going to ride his own race and collect the points in his leading championship. So don't worry about it.
We still have to come the 250cc main event, and if this rain continues to fall, it is going to be a greasy affair. But Jeremy Buell, rider number 25, is going to head toward that finish line jump, and he's going to put another win in the book for the pro circuit. And there it is. Look at that. Taking a hand off and pumping to the crowd, and he is pleased. Here comes Brian Swink. He'll finish in the number 2 position, and Swink is actually quite a ways off the pace. And seeing that now, it's easy to understand why Swink was elected to settle back in that number 2 position. There was really no hope of catching Buell. His only hope was that Buell would make some kind of a mistake. And he protected his points lead. He did everything just as he had to do. So all in all, on the part of these 2 youngsters and a good number of other riders on the track, it was an outstanding effort in this extremely muddy and slippery race condition. We're going to have more when that 250 comes up. And now let's go to Wendy Walsh, who was with Jeremy Buell, our winner.
Thanks, Larry. Jeremy, when you're hot even in the rain.
Thanks a lot. I felt really good out there. The track was slick. I almost slipped and fell a couple times, and the good Lord was watching over me, and he was keeping my tires sticking to the ground. Thanks.
He did. Okay, well, congratulations to you. Back to you, Larry.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and our congratulations to Jeremy Buell, who was followed across the line by Brian Swink, Jason Langford, Barry Karsten, and Mike Brown. Here are the standings. It's Swink, Buell, Volan, Henry, Karsten. They're the top 5. Still to come, the 250 main. That's the Coors Light Challenge, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Coors Light Challenge, the 250cc main event in the Camel Supercross Series, is just about set to get underway. Now, before we get into that race action, let's take a look at how the riders make it into the main event. First, a couple of heat races. Now, out of the heat races, the top 4 riders, the top 4 finishers, move directly to the main. From the heat, those that did not make it to the main go into semis. We'll run a pair of those, and the top 5 from the semis go to the main. Now, if you still have not made it, you have one last chance qualifier. Top 2 finishers go into the main, and that gives us 20 riders for the 20-lap main event. Now, let's take a look at heat race action held earlier today. This is heat race number 1. The track is still dry. You'll see the clouds above Charlotte are threatening, but it did not start raining until just prior to the start of that 125 main event. Now, in the heat races, they're trying to qualify. Top 4 go to the main. In addition, the better you finish, the better your starting position, the better your pick on the gate for the main event. Also, the rider that turns in the fastest heat race of the night gets a Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. At the end of the season, the rider that accumulates the most points gets a $25,000 bonus from Coors. That was the battle for the number 2 position. Denny Stevenson had it. Jeff Matasevich with a block pass takes it. The running order is now Matasevich in the number 2 position, and out front, rider number 4, his teammate Mike Kidrowski in the lead. Now, no love lost between this pair of riders, even though they are teammates. Watch the block pass coming up. No contact. Matasevich keeps out of the way. Kidrowski has to hit the brakes in this corner to avoid running into his teammate. He shoots to the inside. Matasevich, though, had the drive. A good pass on the part of Matasevich, and a good response from Kidrowski. Now, the next corner, a sweeper. Kidrowski almost takes the wheels out from underneath Matasevich. Matasevich, though, got off the gas, and he cut back to the inside to hold on to that number 1 spot. Now, that was not the end of the action in heat race number 1. Watch Kidrowski. He'll look over his shoulder. He sees the big number 5 of Guy Cooper in the Suzuki. Cooper just outjumps Kidrowski to take over the number 2 position. Kidrowski not at all happy. At one time he had the lead. He was shoved back to second. Now he's shoved back to third. Watch this corner. This is where he was passed by Matasevich, so he knows a thing or two about block passing here. Bam! Cooper off the side of the track into the hay bales, and he goes down. Here's another look. Matasevich goes wide. He's going to touch the brakes and then dive to the inside of Cooper. And watch what happens. If you're a member of the Kawasaki camp, you say, good pass. If you're a member of the Suzuki camp, well, you're not going to like that one at all. But at this point, it matters not. Kedrowski has settled into the number 2 position. Meanwhile, Jeff Matasevich out front has one thing and one thing in mind, and that's accumulating one more Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. The fastest rider in the 2 heats, the fastest winner, I should say, of the 2 heat race winners, will accumulate that point. Matasevich with a time of 5:28.68. That's the time to shoot for. And here's a look at the finishers, the qualifiers from heat race number 1. Matasevich, Kedrowski, Stevenson. Cooper picked himself up to finish 4th. He'll go directly to the main. From heat race number 2, 4 more riders will go into the main event. The gate drops, and that one is underway. 10 laps. The long straightaway here at Charlotte, North Carolina, very deceiving on this short track. They get into a high rate of speed as they make that 90-degree left-hand corner, and it does lead to problems. Look at this. Mike LaRocco was pushed into the path of a couple of riders. He went down. LaRocco's had his share of problems this year. Getting the whole shot, Jeff Emig, rider number 18 aboard the Yamaha. He was followed by Jeff Ward, the 2-time Supercross champ for Kawasaki. Here comes Ward up to the inside. He makes the pass on Emig and takes over the number 1 position. So now it's Jeff Ward, Jeff Emig, and behind them, Jean-Michel Vail, the current series points leader. Behind Vail, Damon Bradshaw is there. He's running in the number 6 position, and you have to finish 4th in order to make it into the main. Ward now starting to feel the pressure from Jean-Michel Vail. Vail ran to the inside, had a chance to block past Ward there, but backed out of it at the last second. Vail will avoid conflict wherever he possibly can. He'd prefer to get the job done just as smooth as he can without hitting the other rider, and look at that. He got to the inside of Jeff Ward, out-jumped him, out-braked him, he outdid everything, took over the number 1 spot. Ward comes right back, hammers away at Vail, and Ward regains the number 1 position in heat race number 2. Now let's see if Vail can do it all over again. Squirts to the inside of Jeff Ward. As Jean-Michel Vail, for the 2nd time tonight, has moved into the number 1 position. Now watch this little move. Watch Vail. He looks over to his right and he says, are you done yet? You're going to let me have this 1st place without coming back? Ward says, I'll catch you if I can. Jean-Michel Vail takes the good line, and Mike Fisher now has settled aboard the KTM into the number 3 position. And Fisher is starting to close on Jeff Ward. Mike Fisher riding easily the best that he has ever ridden in Supercross competition in his career in 1991. It was just 1 year ago that Fisher was aboard a Kawasaki as a test rider, a developmental rider. He gave that up, switched to the factory ride from KTM, the Austrian motorcycle, and he has not regretted it one bit. At the early part of the season, he was looking for top 10s, then he wanted top 5s. He's had several of those, and now he's looking for a place on the winner's roster. He gets to the inside of Jeff Ward and executes a perfect block pass. Mike Fisher takes over the number 2 position. Let's watch that again. It's a thing of beauty. Watch this. Ward had absolutely nowhere to go. He did exactly what he had to do, and that was hit the brake and let Mike Fisher go. Had Ward stayed on the gas, he would have ran into Fisher. Probably both of them would have fallen as a result of that action. So Mike Fisher has moved into the number 1 spot. Out front, though, looking for a Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point is Jean-Michel Vail. He took the lead away from Jeff Ward. Ward took it back. Vail regained it, and he's not been headed since then. He's headed for a good time, and I think he's going to take that showdown point, and he does. 5:21.71. Let's go to Wendy Walsh, who was with Jean-Michel.
Thanks, Larry. Jean-Michel, now you got to demonstrate that European finesse to a Southeast audience once again. What is the track like out there?
Oh, it's a very nice track. It's very hard to ride because it's very hard dirt. So it's very slippery. But I just try to find some new line, and I'm very fast, so I'm very confident for the main event.
Well, very fast you are. Back to you, Larry.
Well, thank you, Wendy. And here are the qualifiers from heat race number 2. It was Jean-Michel Vail, followed by Mike Fisher, Jeff Ward, Damon Bradshaw. Those are the top 4 in the Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point standings. Jean-Michel Vail and Jeff Matasevich each have 4 points. Jeff Stanton has 3. At the end of the year, the rider with the most Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown points, $25,000 bonus. Let's take a look at the semis. Larry Ward, Ty Davis, Keith Johnson, Brian Carroll, Kenny Kazar from semi number 1 go into the main event. It's Emig, Tishner, LaRocco, Stallman, and Somo from semi number 2 to the main. Last chance, Lamson and DeHoop. And we'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, a rainy, soggy Charlotte, North Carolina, I might add. The enthusiasm of the crowd, though, not dampened one bit. Great Supercross action coming up. They won't miss a thing. Let's go back 1 week ago to Pontiac, Michigan, and show you some of the outstanding action there. Now, this is from heat race number 1. Jeff Emig, rider number 18, aboard the Yamaha, is going to get the hole shot, but watch Kidrowski on the outside on the Kawasaki. Kidrowski just rails around that giant berm, takes over the lead. Now, Emig was tired of being passed. Watch as Larocco tries to do the job. Emig takes him up top, pushes him in the bales. Larocco jumps off, steps in his chest, cuffs him a time or two. Doesn't do anyone any good other than Kidrowski. He takes the win. Heat race number 2, more excitement. Damon Bradshaw got the hole shot, said goodbye to the pack, but watch Jean-Michel Vail. He tries to avoid the conflict. He just hit the brakes. All of them. The bike spins around and he steps off. Now, Vail at that point was in danger of not qualifying for the main, but watch this. Ron Tischner, rider number 12. Larry Ward, rider number 10. Ward takes them both out. Around the outside goes Vail. He makes it to the main. Bradshaw, meanwhile, he was on his way to the win and the Coors Light Silver Bullet showdown. Main event time at the Pontiac Silverdome without Jeff Stanton and Jeff Matasevich. Both riders injured in the early going and not part of this main event. Damon Bradshaw grabs the hole shot, said goodbye to the rest of the pack. Jean-Michel Vail settles into the number 2 position, and that's where he would stay for the rest of the night. Vail was never really a threat to Bradshaw to take over that number 1 position. With Jeff Stanton out of the running, the championship pretty much is assured if Vail can keep things together, can stay up on 2 wheels, and does not make any drastic mistakes. So that's what Vail is going to do probably from here on out. So Bradshaw takes the win in spectacular fashion at the Silverdome, followed by Jean-Michel Vail on the winner's circle. Bradshaw in the center, Vail on the right. Mike Larocco takes 3rd on the left-hand side of your screen. Here are the standings heading into this Charlotte main event. Vail, Stanton, Kidrowski, Bradshaw, Ward, and let me quickly point out that Jeff Stanton, still injured, will not compete here tonight at Charlotte. On the start line, the Coors Light Challenge, the 250cc main event, just about set to get underway. There's the 30-second for it. We have just enough time to show you what some of these riders look like underneath the helmets and goggles. That was Vail. Here's Damon Bradshaw. He's easily the favorite here in Charlotte. Jeff Ward comes out of San Juan Capistrano, has done all of his winning for Kawasaki. Jeff Matasevich, second member of that Kawasaki team. The 3rd member is Mike Kidrowski. So all 3 Kawasaki riders doing well out here tonight and favored, some of the favorites, I should say, to win in this main event. Rain is still coming down. The cart goes sideways. That gate just about set to drop. The crowd here at Charlotte is on its feet. 250 main is underway. Dan Bentley. Dan is with me. I'm Larry Myers. A big collision, a big pileup. In the first corner, we've got riders all over the racetrack. But the hometown crowd, the hometown favorite, I should say, I'm getting excited. Damon Bradshaw. He's followed closely by the series leader, Jean-Michel Vail. And I think that we have got us a race coming up. Guy Cooper, rider number 5, is running in a number 3 spot. Jeff Ward is 4th. And Jeff Ward running back in that number 4 position. But Bradshaw is the story right now as the rain continues to fall here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's what we're going to see all day long. Bradshaw getting sideways.
You got 2 excellent mud riders up front, Larry. This is going to be a good race.
Well, there's no question that Jean-Michel Vail understands mud, but I want to go back and say again, Dan, that we're not necessarily in a mud situation. And Guy Cooper has taken over the number 2 position. Guy Cooper has moved to the number 2 spot. He's right behind Damon Bradshaw. In 3rd, number 8, Jean-Michel Vail. There's Jeff Ward, 4th. Matasevich, rider number 7, is running in the number 5 position. But Bradshaw, riding with an injured thumb, is holding down the number 1 position. Now, quickly, we talked to Bradshaw earlier in the pits about the thumb. Here's what he had to say.
Damon, just in your practice rounds, you had a little misfortune. You went over a jump, and there below you when you landed was another rider, and you jammed your thumb. How does it feel?
It's not too bad. It was just a little... Actually, when I got up, it just felt numb, and then I started riding, and I didn't actually feel it. And then I come in for some changes on the bike, and it started hurting. But just do some ice on it, and, you know, it's going to be okay. I think I just jammed it.
Cooper continues to wail around this racetrack, and it could be Bradshaw's feeling the effects, I don't know, of the thumb as he spoke about him, but Cooper is feeling the effects of nothing as he's taken over the number 1 position in this one. What is your guess, Dan Bentley? Can Guy Cooper hold on?
I really think he can, Larry. This might be his first Supercross win ever.
Oh, Boy, and what an exciting win it would be. When you talk about nice guys in the world, Guy Cooper is one of them, and I can't imagine that anyone would begrudge Guy Cooper a win. This guy is just everyone's friend, you know, in addition to being a talented rider. And he has taken over the #1 position in this one. Now, we have seen Cooper lead Supercross events in the past. He's never been able to hold it down. I don't know if he loses concentration or if he gets a little bit cocky out front, but he's always ended up in a crash situation. So to set it up, Guy Cooper has taken over the #1 spot. He's rider number 5 aboard that Suzuki. Comes out of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Damon Bradshaw, the crowd favorite, and the winner here 1 year ago, is holding down the #2 position. And Jean-Michel Bale, rider number 8, is in 3rd. He's the series points leader. And we have to go back to that 125 race and ask ourselves if Jean-Michel Bale really wants to challenge the winners, or if he wants to hold on to that points lead and accept whatever he can get by riding safely on this track. What is your opinion?
Well, Bale's an extremely smart rider, and he really has nothing to gain to try to go after the leaders right now. Cooper, on the other hand, he does everything to gain. He's never won a Supercross before, and he's going to be hanging it out to win the event.
That's Dan Bentley talking. Dan is the mechanic, as we've pointed out a couple of times tonight, for the defending Supercross champ, Jeff Stanton, who is injured and not able to ride here tonight. The ironic thing is, he's a member of that Honda camp that Jean-Michel Bale comes from, so certainly he knows what strategy would be available to the riders, and particularly to Jean-Michel Bale. Tire selection in this one has to be critical, as Damon Bradshaw now starts to close on Cooper. Bradshaw evidently not feeling too much pain out of that thumb. He's able to hold on well enough through the whoops, and he's closed the gap on Guy Cooper. Now less than 1 bike length apart, and Bradshaw wheels to the inside. He had a chance there to get in front of Cooper and put a block pass on. He didn't do it. Tell me why. Silence. And I don't know why either, Dan.
I don't know why either.
He had the perfect opportunity, and that's not normally Damon Bradshaw's style, to hang back. But I can only say if that had been Jean-Michel Bale, if it had been Jeff Stanton, that Bradshaw would have had him in the bales. Now Bradshaw goes to the inside again. Side by side with Cooper over the triple jump, and Bradshaw takes over the #1 spot. The crowd here in Charlotte, North Carolina is going nuts. These two riders are in this unbelievably slick racetrack are putting on one tremendous exhibition of riding. Bradshaw, for the 2nd time tonight, has taken over the #1 position. Cooper in 2nd. Jean-Michel Bale 3rd. Jeff Ward holding on to 4th. Cooper is not going away.
Bale's just sitting back, watching the action up front, playing it safe, and if he has a chance, he'll go for it.
Now, Bradshaw made that pass on Guy Cooper. Let's take another look and see if we can see how he had set him up. Here it is, Dan. See what do you think?
Well, he just got the drive coming out of the corner, Larry, carried the speed down the inside, and he had the inside line going down the corner, so he had the advantage.
Actually, Cooper had nowhere to go. He would have to shut off or risk taking them both down.
Exactly. Bradshaw played it smart. He comes in, he sees what Guy's going to do, and he just takes it around the corner.
Meanwhile, out front, Damon Bradshaw has gone down. He's been passed by several riders. Bradshaw trying to get the motorcycle up and started. Now, he did not go down in a set of whoops where if the thumb were a problem, you would expect him to go down. So I'd have to think that he just got a little bit wild in that slippery condition and lost it.
Exactly.
Here's our leader now, Guy Cooper. Dan, go ahead.
Exactly. Bale, that's one thing Bale was just sitting back and waiting for.
Now he might be interested in moving up. You know, I've got to think about Guy Cooper's history and how easy maybe it would be to pressure Cooper into some kind of a mistake. So we might see Jean-Michel Bale try to move up on Guy Cooper.
Exactly. Coop's getting a little sideways there.
See, that's the kind of thing you got to watch for.
You can't believe it's incredibly slippery going through those bumps.
Well, slippery or not, Guy Cooper is flat getting the job done here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The clay and the water don't seem to be bothering him a bit. Now, back at the San Diego Supercross, one of the earlier rounds, our camera crew and Wendy Walsh spent some time with Guy Cooper for Man and Machine.
Here in the midst of our Supercross 91 Series, race day is what all riders train for. Out there on the track is Team Suzuki veteran pro Guy Cooper, who is a mainstay in this series. Our crew spent the day with Guy to see what kind of preparation goes into race day.
I like to go walk it to see if they've made any track changes on it. He jumps, you're going to lose time taking the outside. It gives you time to look at it and try to figure out if we're going to change the gearing or change the suspension. We'll ride the first practice, and that's whenever they'll come up with a map and say, well, look at this. This is where Damon Bradshaw went, and this is where Jeff Stanton went. These little kids got a lot of nerve, you know. They come up there and, you know, a big old smile ear to ear, so it's hard to turn them down. The second practice, your confidence level should be high because everything should have went smoothly and where you want to go. After the second practice is a good time just to relax and really race the track a lot. And when I'm out on the track, it's just like I've already been there so many times. It's repetition, you know, you're ready to do it again.
And that's it for this week's Man and Machine. Our subject, Guy Cooper, he says he was ready to do it again, and he is doing it again right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's leading this one in the mud and the rain. We'll be back with more Supercross action to Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the rain continues to come down harder now than ever. And Dan, earlier, we watched some of the riders as they threw their goggles off. Now, they have to be paying the price for that now.
If the riders were smart, they probably possibly set up some roll-offs or something like that, some type of system that they have a limitless use of tearaways.
We started to talk about tire selection. It could be one of the critical decisions to be made in this race, Dan.
Exactly. You know, before the race started, I really wouldn't know what selection I would make. It would kind of be up to Jeff. He'd go with intermediate. I would predict Bale probably has something like a mud tire on the front. He's more prone to that than going to an intermediate tire.
Well, Dan, earlier today, Wendy Walsh talked with Cliff White. Now, he's the mechanic for Jean-Michel Bale about tires. Here's what he had to say.
How does the weather affect your preparations?
Well, right now we don't know which way it's going to go, either clear up or rain, so we have to have tires that can go either direction, and we also have air filters, air assemblies. In case the water comes down, we have the ability to change that to keep it out of the engine. So we're already prepared for all of that.
Guy Cooper, meanwhile, continues to slog through the mud and the rain. The slop out here in this Memorial Stadium. We've got yellow flags waving all over the racetrack. That means that there is danger on the course. Usually someone has fallen, and it is signaled to the riders that are coming up to be very careful, be very cautious, because there is someone in the way out there, and that's the way you kind of avoid injuries, further injuries on tracks. It's a way of communicating with the rider. Obviously, you can't holler at him, can't say, hey, move over. So the yellow flags take care of that. And look at the rain coming down. Guy Cooper holding down the #1 spot, and Bale just sitting back and watching.
It's coming down really hard right now, Larry.
Now look at that, was a smart move. Jean-Michel Bale went into that corner. He saw that rider was stalled in the middle of the track, and he came to almost a complete stop, Dan, and picked his line. And look, it actually worked for him, because Guy Cooper was a little out of shape as he went around that stalled rider, and Bale was able to close the gap slightly. I still think before this one is over, we're going to see Bale maybe up there pushing Cooper just a little bit.
I think you're right, Larry. As the laps start to tick down here, I think you might try to push him a little bit and see if you can make Guy make a few mistakes.
The rain coming down harder than ever here at Charlotte Memorial Stadium. The huge crowd on hand, though, is still in their seats. They've not, well, now they are starting to leave just a little bit. I can't say that I blame them. Not because the action is not exciting, but they are getting wet. It is pouring out here. I don't, look at the amount of water that is now standing on the racetrack. And even though it rained during that 125 main, we didn't see water like this, and it's just an incredible set of circumstances if they're able to keep the bikes up on two wheels.
This is all we've had for the last 6 races, Larry, is rain. This rain has followed us all over the country, and I think all the riders and mechanics both would like to see it subside.
I would point out to you that that's one of the advantages, Dan, of working in a broadcast booth. We're up here where it's relatively warm and dry, and had you been working for Jeff this weekend, and Jeff not been injured, you'd be down on that line suffering. But I suspect you'd be happy to take that suffering.
Yeah, I would right now. I'd be trying to communicate as hard as it would be right now.
We're visiting with Dan Bentley, who was good enough to work with us in the booth here at Charlotte Memorial Stadium, and there was the hero, Damon Bradshaw, and Bradshaw being lapped by Jean-Michel Bale, so he's definitely out of this one. Dan Bentley is the man that turns the wrenches for Jeff Stanton, the defending Camel Supercross champ. And Dan, you know, most unfortunate he's not able to be here, but he was injured a week ago in Pontiac, and maybe you could fill us in the extent of that injury and when he'll be back.
Well, it's a second-degree separation of his left shoulder, and he's been doing 24-hour therapy with his trainer, Jeff Spencer, and as of Thursday or Friday, he had pretty much total mobility back. Oh,
Guy Cooper went down. Guy Cooper has gone down, and that's going to give the lead to Jean-Michel Bale. Boy, you talk about a smart rider. He did everything right in this one. And Cooper's back to the #2 position. Let's go back and take a look at this crash and see if you can see what happened, Dan.
Comes into the corner, just lost the rear end. Larry came around on him. There's not much you can do.
Absolutely not. And he's down again. Guy Cooper has gone down one more time. This time he's in a collision with Damon Bradshaw. I'm not sure how that one came about, but no disrespect to the Honda camp, but we were in the final stages of this one, and I thought we would see Guy Cooper win his first ever Supercross, and actually I was kind of pulling for him, Dan. But Jean-Michel, look at other riders continuing to go down on this racetrack. This is almost like a laugh-in with that guy with the raincoat and the tricycle that crashed constantly.
It's a total ice skating rink out there right now.
Definitely. As you were saying, Jeff Stanton hopes to be back to ride next week in the Dallas event.
Yeah, he's going to try to come back in Dallas. We're going to try to ride the press day there on Friday, and if he can ride, if there's any possibility he can ride, we're going to do it.
Hopefully it's not the type of an injury that further riding would stimulate or aggravate.
Well, we don't want to push it too fast because it could be an injury that will bother him for the rest of the year. So we're going to just play it by ear, and if he feels comfortable in riding, he is a very strong-willed individual. So if he wants to ride, I'm going to let him ride.
So Jean-Michel Bale holding down the number 1 spot. Let's go back and take a look at who's in contention, I think, for the number 2 position, and that's Guy Cooper. Are you believing that? Cooper was able to get back up with Jeff Ward, and they're battling for the number 2 spot. I think that's a tribute to how fast Cooper was riding in the early going as he takes over the number 2 spot away from Ward. That's how far he was ahead of Ward, how far he and Bale were ahead, and Cooper is still tripling while Ward goes to the double. They were so far ahead, he had time to fall twice, get back up in 3rd, and now has regained another position to move into the number 2 spot.
Guy's riding really good tonight.
He is riding unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I feel for these mechanics.
Let's take another look at the pass that Cooper just made on Jeff Ward. He just kind of run it in on him, going about 5 miles an hour faster, and flat track style. And Dan Ward never had a chance. Ward just said, hey, go ahead. Look at this. Now Cooper is in midair. He's going for the triple, and Ward says, you guys are nuts. I'm not having any of this. We're on the last lap. Jean-Michel Bale has to keep it up for, well, less than a lap now. He's working his way around the racetrack onto that big tabletop jump. And Jean-Michel Bale is going to put victory number 7 into the books, and Bale triples and a wave to the crowd in the process. What race action we've seen out here tonight. What a tribute to the talent of these young men to keep the motorcycles upright on this slick racetrack. It has just been an unbelievable set of events, circumstances that has made this Charlotte Supercross such a good one. But Bale is now headed toward the checkered flag, and this will be win number 7 and a further points gap between himself and the rest of the field. Jean-Michel Bale played it smart. He did everything right. And I'm not at all sure that if Guy Cooper had it to do over again that he would do anything different. I think Cooper would ride it the same way. He made that one little bobble, and that cost him. And Cooper's happy. He takes 2nd place in this one. He'll be on the victory roster. But like I said, they don't come any nicer than Guy Cooper, and it's going to be great to see him up there.
In any event, Jean-Michel Bale takes the win. He got it almost by default as riders kept falling in front of him. He's followed by Cooper, Jeff Ward, Mike LaRocco, Mike Fisher, rounding out the top 5 here in Charlotte. Round 12 of the Camel Supercross Series. We'll be back with the winner's interview right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Charlotte, North Carolina. Jean-Michel Bale has just captured the main event, and Wendy Walsh is with Jean-Michel.
Thanks, Larry. You know, we got some thunder and lightning down here cheering on this man. Tell us, what was it really like out in that slop?
Yeah, it was very hard, all the way and all the race. It was very hard to ride, very hard to make just 1 lap. But I have a good race. Many guys crashed, and I didn't crash for all the race, and I won the race.
And in the process of winning, Jean-Michel, you padded your points lead over Mike Kiedrowski in 2nd, followed by Bradshaw, Ward, and Cooper. Dan, it was a little bit on the soggy side, but nonetheless, it was great racing.
Yeah, it was, Larry. Really good racing.
And I hope next week we'll not see you in the broadcast booth, but you'll be out on the track with your rider, Jeff Stanton.
With any luck at all, we'll be there.
Well, I certainly hope so. On behalf of Dan Bentley, who has worked with me this evening, and Wendy Walsh, who was trackside, I'm Larry Myers saying so long until next week when Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge, continues from Dallas, Texas.